Hi loves, my name is Chiwendo. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's tutorial I'll be sharing with you guys how to draft out the upper part of this beautiful princess that bustier gown with a keyhole. Let's get started. So guys, here are the measurements I'll be using for this tutorial. So first of all, we are going to draft out the front block. Starting from the top of my paper, I'm going to come down by half an inch, and this half an inch I'll be using it as my baseline, which is equally going to serve as my shoulder line. So I'm going to go ahead and square up my line. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to place my tape on this line and then go down vertically and mark the bust point. So my shoulder to bust point here is 11 inches. Still leaving my tape on the starting line, I'm going to mark out the waistline 18 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and square up my lines. Now once I'm done connecting my line, I'm going to go over to the shoulder line again, and I'll divide my shoulder 15 inches by 2, and I'll mark down 7.5 inches. Now on that same shoulder point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and from this shoulder slope I will divide my bust circumference by 6 and add 1.5 inches, and that will be the chest line. So this distance between the chest line and the shoulder slope is going to be the armhole depth, and I'll connect both lines together. So now you can see we have the vertical and the horizontal line right there. So now I'll go ahead and mark the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust points, and then I realize I haven't marked down the under bust point. So from the shoulder point again, I'm going to mark down vertically 15 inches for the under bust point, and then square my line across, and then I'll label that the under bust line, and lastly the waistline. Okay, now I'm going back to the shoulder line. I'm going to go ahead and mark out my neck width for the front 3.5 inches, and for the neck depth I'm going to use 4 inches. So I'm going to connect these both lines using my French curve, as you can see me doing like this. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to connect the shoulder slope into the neck width. Okay, now I'm going to go over and divide the distance between my shoulder slope and the chest line into 2. I'll mark out the middle, and then from that point go in by half an inch. Now I'll go back to the chest line point and divide my bust circumference by 4, and I'll mark it out. So right there I have 10.25 inches. 41 divided by 2. I will equally mark it on the bust points, and then go over to the under bust point and mark my round under bust divided by 4, plus I'll be adding 2.5 inches for that intake. I'll equally go down to the waistline, divide my waist circumference by 4, and add 2.5 inches as well for that intake. Okay, so once I'm done with all of this, I'm going to connect all the points together. So guys, today's special hug would be to Jennifer Amolo. I've been seeing all of your engagements. I love you so much. Thank you for all of your support. And you guys, if you want me to extend a special hug to you, please drop a nice comment and let me know where you are watching from. Okay, so I'll be connecting the armhole right now. Can you see? Now, the next step you are going to take is divide nipple to nipple measurements by 4 and add 0.5 inches. So for this particular tutorial, the nipple to nipple measurement is 8. I divided by 2 and added 0.5 inches. So on the bust points under bust point and waistline, I went ahead to mark in 4.5 inches starting from the fold, and then use my straight ruler to connect them together. Now on the bust point line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch and then equally go up by half an inch. Okay. So guys, what this does is it helps to eliminate any form of sharp curve around the bust area. Okay. So guys, remember that when I was taking in my body measurements, I added 2.5 inches. So we are going to go to the waistline, and then by the sides I'm going to input 2 inches, and then in the middle half an inch. The same thing goes to the under bust point, 2 inches by the side and then half an inch in the middle. Okay, so once you are done with this, go ahead and use your straight ruler to connect the lines together, and then bring in the curvy parts of your ruler and then connect to the 1 inch below the bust point. So guys, once you are done with this, the next step is for you to measure your armhole curve and then divide it by 2. But guys, you can see that I went ahead to connect to the middle of my armhole, which is not what I'm supposed to do at this point. So please neglect this. Okay, I decided to leave this so that you guys would know that nobody is above mistake in this journey. Okay, so please neglect this particular step that I just took. Now what you want to do is measure around your armhole. So you can see I'm trying to measure mine, and what I got was 10.5 inches. So this 10.5 inches, I'm going to divide it into 2, and whatever it is that I have, I'm going to start from the shoulder slope again and bring it down to that whatever I had. Okay, so I had 5.5 inches, so I went ahead to mark it. Now from that 5.5 inches mark, I'm going to take in and out half an inch, which is removing 1 inch for my dart. Okay, so I went ahead to connect these lines into the half an inch above the bust points line. You guys understand? So you can see I've succeeded in removing 1 inch for my dart on the armhole. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is to raise this dart leg by the side front by 1 inch, because if you don't do this, you might run short of fabric when you want to join the side front and the center front together. Okay, so after you raise up by 1 inch, go ahead and also replace that on the chest line. Okay, and then go ahead and connect it to the waist point. So now you can see we have our new armhole. Okay, so next thing I want to do now is go ahead and add up my sewing allowance. So I'll be making use of 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Bear in mind that this is not standard. Okay, you can make use of 1 inch, half an inch, it depends on your preference. Okay, so I've taken in my sewing allowance. Now I'm going to connect my new armhole again. So now that we are done with this, next step is for us to create our keyhole. So from the neck depth, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. It all depends on your preference. You could come down by 1.5 inches. Now from this 1 inch, I'm going to mark out 3 inches. This is for how wide I want the keyhole to be, and then I'm going to equally divide the middle into 2 and then go out by 1 inch from the center. Okay, so guys, once you are done with that, you are going to go ahead and create a semicircle. So you can see I'm using a dotted line first. So at this point I wasn't able to use my curve ruler to do that, so I decided to make use of my free hand. Okay, so just create a semicircle. Remember that your paper is on fold, right? Okay, that is what I never told you initially. You're going to have to place your paper on fold. Okay, so now go back to the shoulder and add shoulder sewing allowance, half an inch. And you guys, yeah, we are done with the front block. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so to cut it out, you're going to have to start from the neck. So you can see I've cut off the neck, and then I'm cutting off the shoulder to the armhole, and then I'll cut off the remaining parts. So now to the waistline. Okay, so here again, you guys, if you want to make use of your bust darts, go ahead and come down by the difference between the back length and the front length. Okay, which is what I tried showing you right here, but I'm not going to make use of that. Okay, so I'm going to continue my cutting. You can see. So guys, at this point, if you are yet to hit on the subscribe button, please kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notification to get notified once I upload a new video. Now I will move over to cut off the keyhole, and this is the center front and the side front. Okay, so we are going to move over to the back. Here is our back. I've marked out the important lines: the shoulder line, the chest line. I have the bust points, and then here is the length of the back. Okay, so guys, I've also added the zipper allowance and also marked my neck width and my neck depth for the back. So I'll go ahead and divide the distance between the shoulder slope and the chest line. Okay, mark it out, and on the chest line I will divide my bust circumference by 4 and add 2 inches for sewing allowance. Okay, I'll repeat the same thing on the bust points and then go down to the waist line. Now on the waist, I'll divide the waist circumference by 4, mark it down, and I'll be adding 1.5 inches for my darts and then add 2 inches for the sewing allowance. Now I'll go ahead and connect my back armhole, and once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and divide the nipple to nipple measurement by 2, and I will start just after the zipper allowance and input 4.5 inches on the bust point and the waistline and connect it with my straight ruler. Now over to the chest line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, which is where our dart for the back usually starts from. Okay, now on the waistline, I'm going to take in and out 3/4 of an inch. Okay, because we added 1.5 inches, so I shared it equally on both sides and then connected my dart legs. Okay, now I'm going to move over to the shoulder because I want the back to be shoulder princess dart. Okay, so that's why you can see I divided my shoulder into 2 and connected it to the 1 inch below the chest line. Now I'm going to remove any form of bulge around the zipper. So from the center of the waistline, I went in by 1 inch and then connected it back to the neck depth. Now I'll move over to the shoulder and add my shoulder sewing allowance, half an inch, and then I'll connect. And you guys, this is it for the back. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out right now. Okay, so guys, you can see, please, cutting is very important. Pay good attention to how I'm cutting this out. Okay, now once you are done with this, you go ahead and cut out the waist darts. So for the waist dart, I'm going to cut through to the shoulder, and once I was done with this, here is what we have. This is the back block and this is the front. So you guys, this is exactly how to cut out your princess dart bustier with a keyhole. I hope you guys found value in this tutorial. If you do, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I will see you in my next one. Bye.